could drive you crazy.
Oh, Hitchcock had quite a person. He liked to play practical jokes on his actors. And he had something in common with another contributor to this book, David Mamet, who has an essay in there on directing actors is the name of his essay. Yeah. He believes, and I think Hitchcock would have agreed, you don't want any emotion at all from the actor most of the time. How can you act apprehensive? Any actor, he says, who tries to act in order to betray an emotion on the face looks like he's acting. If the director has done his job, if the story has done his job, and if the character has been properly introduced and set up, then all I have to do is look at the camera, and the audience will say he's apprehensive. But if I go like this, you know, it's Vincent Price time, it's Boris Karloff time, you're overacting. He says in there, do the physical action. What do I tell an actor? Perform the physical action. Walk down the hallway, turn the door, and enter the room. How should I walk down the hallway? You should start here, and you should walk toward the door. How should I enter the room? Turn the knob and open the door, then enter the room. Perform the physical action. And Hitchcock would never talk to his actors about their motivation or what it meant. He would simply say, pick up the drink, light the cigarette.
My most famous story about that, and you probably know this better than I do, is one of the great acting teachers had his class, and he said to the students in the class, acting students, you know, just show me how you walk. And they stood on stage and they walked. And they were all very mannered. And then he said, look, I'm going to ask you a very difficult question. I want you to think about the most painful thing that's ever happened to you. And then I want you to tell me about it. But continue walking. And all of a sudden the walking changed because they weren't focusing on walking.
Yes.
And it became very natural. You know.
The very best actors, people like Robert Mitchum, who is underestimated, are the ones who do the least. Who simply, you know, if the character is written, if the movie has been prepared correctly, they can present it in such a way that everything else reflects on them and they don't have to generate it.
Spencer Tracy, was it Spencer Tracy?
Spencer Tracy.
Same thing?
Same thing.
All right.
Yeah.
You've got another Rose fave here, Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
What does he say?
That's the most recent entry in the book, and that's right off the web. I wanted to go for a century of film. I have the frequently asked files question from the Tarantino web page.
Yeah.
You know, where when people go on the web, the people on the web are so tired of being asked the same questions that they put up a fact file, FAQ, and read this first before you ask us any questions. Pulp Fiction is the most analyzed work, I'm convinced, the most analyzed work since Hamlet. Every frame has been analyzed. You can read in there, you know, what was in the briefcase, what was behind the counter in the used gun shop, what did he say when he was quoting Ezekiel, and was that correct? Was it from the Bible, or did he make it up? Was there a slip in time? Did Honey Bunny say something different at the beginning and at the end? And on and on and on. It's fascinating to read it because it shows how fascinated people are, fascinated they are in the movie.
And his little quiz for you. Guess whose interview with Tarantino is on the Laserdisc version of Pulp Fiction?
Yes. Very good.
Very good.
He's an interesting guy, isn't he?
You will never tire of movies. I mean, it has been your life for such a long time.
I never started out to be a movie critic. I always wanted to be a newspaper man, and that I am. And I was given the job of movie critic at the Sun-Times, and it was kismet, I mean, to coin a phrase.
Have you ever wanted to do, yes, have you ever wanted to do anything other than, I mean, have you ever wanted to get your hands around the camera and try to do some small thing of your own, applying everything?
If the word is small, then the answer is yes. I am not a movie director in that. There's a different personality type that can direct a big movie. A documentary of a certain sort I would like to make. I've seen some documentaries. They generally tend to be about ordinary people doing ordinary things in a way that makes you realize how extraordinary they are. When you see a movie like Crumb, you say, even though this is one of the great movies, you say to yourself, I could do that if I had the access to that material. But of course, Terry Zweibel, who directed that movie, the story of how he got Crumb to cooperate and to reveal himself is so fascinating. You and I could never do that. But there might be somebody. Maybe I could make a film about you. You can make a film about me. I'd love to make a documentary. Yeah, so would I. I mean, the interesting thing is that the great documentaries always have some interesting, eccentric character. Oh, yeah.
At the core. I mean, Crumb is one that's a perfect example. But also War Room had James Carville.
War Room?
Sort of larger than life.
Theremin?
Sure.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah.
Right. Roger Ebert's book of film, From Tolstoy to Tarantino, the finest writing from a century of film. There's much more to talk about. I hope you'll come back. and do it again.
I'd like to, Charlie.
Thank you. We'll be right back. Stay with us.